Okay guys, so welcome to AMP1. This video is going to just kind of be a quick review over the syllabus for the course. I'm your instructor, Katie Tier, and you are going to be able to contact me and find me in the biology building. I'm office 31, and if you need to contact me, there's my telephone number and my email address, so feel free to get in touch with me. In terms of office hours, I'm just kind of using a generic syllabus, but on your syllabus that's posted on Moodle, you'll be able to see my actual office hours, but since they vary by semester, I just try to keep it general for now. I don't really plan on being on campus on Fridays, but if you needed to, we could possibly set up an appointment and you could get in touch with me there. So for the class, if you want to try to be prepared, there's definitely some things that you need to have before you come. There is a textbook. It's an OpenStax textbook. You can download it. The information for your textbook is right down here. So you can download it with that website. You can also purchase it. It's available in the TC bookstore, or you can get on Amazon, something like that. I will tell you that the textbook is not just for Anatomy 1, but it's also for AMP 2. So you'll be using it for 2 semesters if you do purchase it. In addition to that, in the TCE bookstore, there's a booklet of AMP handouts. These were created by Miss Grisham, and they're going to be a great resource. We will be using them in class. There's lots of materials that you can find in there. There's going to be, things that you need to know for the test. There's going to be some notes, some diagrams, things that we'll fill out together in class, some practice questions for you, and just some general study material. So you'll definitely want to pick that up. Hopefully before class, if not shortly after class starts. You will need a computer and access to the internet. Because this is a hybrid course, you will definitely have to have access to Moodle, seeing as all of the materials for the course can be found on your Moodle, which is going to be on your MyTC. And so you will need the computer and access to the internet. And we'll talk about technology again here in a moment. And then for sure, you're going to need at least one green Scantron, possibly more, but your final exam will be in person, and it's going to require one of those green Scantrons. You can find those in the TC bookstore as well, and they're pretty cheap and easy to pick up. Now, for the green Scantron, you will need a number 2 pencil, but for any other assignments or things that we do in class, you can write with whatever kind of instrument you want. Now, down here are some optional materials. You don't have to have them, but they are definitely things that I would highly encourage you to get or bring to class. The binder is great for the handouts that you get in the bookstore, as well as handouts that you might get in class. Colored pencils, colored pens, markers, all of these things can be helpful in labeling. And index cards are something that you definitely may want to purchase. Flashcards are an excellent way to study for anatomy topics, learning parts, vocabulary. So I would highly encourage you to get some index cards. And for me, I like to use colors. It just helps my brain. So things like highlighters and the pens can be helpful in creating those, or highlighting notes, things like that. All right, so your student learning outcomes, these are the things that we have to cover in the course. And so this is part 1 of a 2-course sequence. Of course, AMP2 is going to be next. And so what we're looking at is the structure and function of essentially the human body. Now in AMP1, we're going to focus on the cell level, we'll focus on the tissue level, we'll focus on specific organs, and we are going to be covering chapters 1 through 16 in AMP1, and then AMP2 will cover the rest of the book. So those chapters are going to involve the cells and a lot of the intro material, and then it's also going to include these body systems. You have integumentary, skeletal, muscular, nervous, and then we'll look a little bit at some special senses. And so when we take a test, when we do activities, it's all going to be revolving around these SLOs. There's also going to be some technology help that's available. Once again, you have to have a computer. If you're a new student at TC, you may not be super familiar with this, but the TC Service Portal, it used to be called the TC Help Desk. Very, very, very important. Here's the number. or if you have access to a computer, then you can email them as well. But the TC Service Portal is going to be your place to go anytime you need help with technology. I've already had to use them several times, and they are fast, they are friendly, and they are a great service. In addition to the tech help, if there are issues with computers or you need help maybe purchasing a computer or help with Wi-Fi, there's some information here for you. Once again, there's the service desk and the number, but you will need to have an actual computer. Chromebooks, smartphones, those are not going to work. In order for you to do all of your work and complete the course, take tests, you're going to need an actual computer. So just be sure you have access to one of those. All right, so we have a very short 8-week semester, and it's going to be fast and furious. And so here, this is just a skeleton of a class schedule. On your actual syllabus, it'll have the dates for your semester. And so it'll tell you, what we're doing on day 1. It'll tell you what we're covering that day. And what I really want to point out are over here in this column, I just put lines on them for now, but there's going to be dates here in bold. And these are going to be your deadlines for your lecture test. We're going to have 8 lecture tests, the last one being the final exam. That's the one that you're going to take in class with the green Scantron. But all of these other tests are going to be taken in the testing center. And you're going to have a window of time that you can get those done, but they must be completed by that deadline. So please pay attention to the schedule. It is tentative, things can happen, there could be some changes made, but I will announce those in class and on Moodle. But pay attention to these dates that your tests are due. And then down here we have how you're going to get your grade. We've got 70% will be your exams. They're going to be multiple choice mostly, but there will be some essays, and in your packet that you're going to pick up, it goes over possible essays. There's also word bits, which are like prefixes and suffixes that can help you in not only anatomy but other classes. Each exam is going to be weighted the same, so all 8 carry the same weight, but none of these will be dropped. So it's very important that you do your best on each and every test, and it's very important that you take your test, because a 0 is going to be very difficult to recover from. So you want to make sure you're taking your test and you are prepared. There will not be late exams. So because you have a window of time, because the deadlines are very clear, you want to make sure that you get in there on time. I would highly recommend not waiting until the last day or the last minute to get your test done. Now, almost all of your tests are going to be in the testing center, which is in the TC library. And the testing center has specific hours and rules that you must follow. For instance, you have to have a valid TC ID. So just be sure you're very aware of their rules and hours, because if you show up and don't give yourself enough time to take the test, or you don't have your ID card and you are there at the last minute, you may not get your test taken. As I mentioned earlier, the final exam will be in person. That'll be on the last day of class, and you'll need that green Scantron. There will be some bonus opportunities on your test, but I just want you to be aware that you cannot get more than 100, but the bonuses can help you maybe if you did miss a few questions. And then the rest of your assignments are going to be 30%. They're going to have to be completed, a lot of them in Moodle. There could be some that are done in class. And once again, no late assignments are accepted. You're going to have a window as well for these, except for maybe the ones that we do in class. But I will drop the lowest grade in this category. So just make sure you're keeping up with your assignments and doing your best on everything that you can. You can keep up with your grades in Moodle and Jenzabar. And in the Moodle video, I know Ms. Grisham covered kind of how to check your grades in the grade book. And this is important to recognize. You want to kind of keep an eyeball on your grades, because once I enter a grade, you have 1 week to dispute it. So hopefully there won't be any errors made, but you just want to make sure you're checking that. And that way, if there are issues, they can be addressed, because if you don't say anything after a week, then that grade is going to stand. All right, the attendance policy. This was covered pretty heavily in the welcome video, and you've got a lot to read here, but I'm just going to kind of focus on the highlights. But because this is a hybrid class, your attendance is going to come from not only being present, actually on your in-class days, but also taking care of your assignments and tests on the Moodle side. So you want to make sure that you are taking care of all of your assignments. You take your tests because those could be absences. And we know that if you miss too much, you can be dropped from the course. So for this particular class, because it's an 8-week hybrid class, you can't really miss more than twice. So you want to make sure that you are showing up, you are coming on time, you are staying for the whole class, because if you miss more than 2 classes, you can be dropped from the course. And in this particular class, if you're dropped from lecture, you will automatically be dropped from your lab class as well. You know, things happen, life gets in the way, sometimes we have, you know, sickness, family issues, that's understandable, but you definitely want to make sure that you're coming to class when you can. That way, if those things do happen, you can stay within that 2 absence window. Of course, if you do have extenuating circumstances, if there's something major going on, that's where you just need to come and talk to me. Preferably face-to-face, not just over email, but come and see me and we can deal with the issue at hand. But otherwise, just come to class, okay? And you can keep up with your absences on Genzabar as well. So because we don't do late work in AMP1, there's not going to be makeup tests or makeup assignments. Just make sure you're where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be, and then you won't have to worry about that too much, and you're keeping up with your due dates on Moodle. In terms of class behavior, I don't really expect there to be too many issues, seeing as we're adults, but there is 0 tolerance for any misbehavior or disruptions. We just want to be respectful, you know, don't use any foul language or be rude toward other students or instructors. Same thing goes for the testing center. You know, if you don't get to take your test or something happens, we can't be rude to them or, you know, act a fool or anything like that. Any kind of disruption could lead to removal from the class. It could lead to withdrawal from the class. It could lead to zeros on assignments. So just make sure that you're being respectful and you're taking care of your business there. Financial aid, if you do receive financial aid, dropping the class could affect your funding. You may have to pay that money back, so that's where you're going to need to check with your financial aid advisor or check with the office before you decide to drop from the course. All right, cell phones. I know we've all got them, and you know we like to have them on us, and you know life happens. But during lecture, it's expected that your cell phone should be on silent, and you should not be using your cell phones during class. If you have an emergency call, you need to step out. You know, like I said, you know that might be excusable from time to time. Shouldn't happen on a regular basis. But during testing, absolutely no cell phones can be used. They can't even be out. They can't even be visible because cell phones are a great way to cheat. And it'll be considered academic dishonesty if you have your cell phone out. Even if you're just doing something as simple as checking the time. During a test, they absolutely must be put up and put away at all times. It's my recommendation that you don't even bring it in. You leave it in your car or, you know, put it in your bag or just leave it to where you're not tempted to get it out of your pocket or something like that. I mean, it will be seen as academic dishonesty, and that could lead to zeros and also being withdrawn from the course. So once again, academic dishonesty, it's taken very seriously at the college level, as it should be. In this class, it could be something like copying an answer during an exam, you know, giving information to other students about the exams. Once again, cell phones, if they're even visible, it is considered academic dishonesty. So they must be concealed, and you cannot get them out, and you cannot answer them or read a text or anything like that during an exam. Academic dishonesty could also include opening up other tabs. You know, you should be kind of in a lockdown mode where you can only be in the test. So if you were to, you know, find a way to open up other tabs, that would be cheating as well. Now, in the testing center, and then if we were to take it in class, you can't wear hats or sunglasses. You can't wear smartwatches during test. You also can't really leave the room. So you want to take care of everything you need to before you start the test, because once you leave, you can't come back in and finish. So just make sure that you are taking bathroom breaks and all of that before the test begins. All right, if you have any kind of accommodations, it's important that you kind of bring those up early in the class. Maybe come see me during my office hours, because if you wait till halfway through the semester, it's kind of hard to provide those accommodations. And so just get with me if that involves you. And then basic needs, if you need just essentials like food or groceries or things like that, Tanya Blaze is the person to contact. There's her number. She can help get you what you need. And then, of course, if you notify your professors, we can do our best to help get you on the right track and get the help that you need, the food that you might need or anything like that. So this is the syllabus. I hope you guys are looking forward to the class. I know that I'm looking forward to meeting you and getting to know you over these next 8 weeks. So if you have any questions, just swing by and see me, and I look forward to seeing you in class.